All right, everyone, welcome back. It's week 6 of the Family Beatdown Fantasy Football League. Time for a little recap and preview. Before we get to that, it's that most wonderful time of year now, actually watching playoff baseball here. It's the Red Sox looking to clinch against Tampa Bay. It's 0-0 in the bottom of the third right now. Tampa Bay is batting. Let's go Red Sox. Hoping for the Cardinals to pull it through. Also hoping for the Dodgers. Got a three-way tie for my attention in baseball. So, at any rate, Dodgers are on. They're waiting for the outcome of St. Louis and Pittsburgh. I hope it's St. Louis, and I ultimately hope that it's Red Sox on the other side. Don't care about the National League. It's all about the American League. All right, let's get right to it. Notre Dame beat the common opponent, Arizona State, 37-34. Bit of a shootout, but Notre Dame, came out victorious. In the matchup. As you remember, this same Arizona State walloped USC 42-61 the previous week. So just a good matchup by Notre Dame. They held the Sun Devils in check for the most part, even though 34 points is plenty. Any rate, Notre Dame is off this week, getting ready for next week's matchup, which is the big USC Notre Dame matchup. The Trojans will be flying into Indiana, and the pillaging will start sometime early next week. Notre Dame is coming off as 5.5-point favorites in this game, but the Trojans have something to prove after the way this season has kind of crumbled underneath their feet. Trojans were off last week. They had their bye last week. They play the University of Arizona this week. They come off as 6-point favorites. Should be a pretty good matchup. Arizona's got a lot of the same characteristics as Arizona State. They're a good defensive team. They've got some speed. They compete well in the Pac-12. So we'll see how it is. And it's the beginning of the Ed Orgeron era here at USC. Let's talk about NFL bye weeks. So only got 2 teams on bye this week. You've got Atlanta and Miami. So Atlanta, Miami go on bye this week. Let's get straight to our results. Let's start off right at the top, man. Rebecca has backed that pass up. Is constantly playing over the rim these days. More often than not, this girl scores 210 points. We'll get to her total point later. It's really kind of running away with it. But she scored 210 over Monte Ballich's 91. She takes the win, and she moves on. The big news is our undefeated Titan, the Pubicville Crabs, came crashing back to earth as Big Brother Jacob Bolden outshined Pubicville Crabs and Alex Bolden. Matt Ryan was really what Jake needed. He put up 46.9 last night on Monday night in the losing effort against the Jets, and that was enough to swing it. But a good matchup and a good run by Alex, who now slips to 4-1. Jake moves to 3-2. Blood, Sweat, and Beer, just a 6-point winner over Mud Dogs. A nice pickup for her with Phillip Rivers. She picked him up during the course of the week. He put up 52 points. He's so mercurial. You can never count on that guy. And it was 52 points against Oakland, who all of a sudden is for real. If you watch that late night game Monday, it was kind of weird. I don't imagine you guys back in the Midwest did. It started like 11 o'clock Pacific time. Had to do with the fact that the A's had a playoff game earlier that day and they had to get the stadium ready. So at any rate, Blood, Sweat, and Beer improves to 4-1. And Mud Dogs drops to 1-4. Gerard Invincibles was not able to get to Grandpa's computer to his lineup in time, and then when I did, I made Matt Schaub his starting quarterback. What kind of boneheaded play with that? And what kind of slump is that boy going through right now with all those pick sixes in 4 consecutive games? Unreal. Invincibles dropped one to Decepticons, 103-79. The Rednecks moved on to 4-1. With a 109-93 record over the Angry Itch. The Angry Itch also drops to 1-4. And, okay, that's the... Smell This was victorious over Big Blue, 129-79. I went out that game purposefully without a tight end because I just did not want to give up Alfred Morris, Antonio Brown, Doug Martin, or Le'Veon Bell. All those guys were on bye last week, so I just kind of rolled the dice. Fortunately enough, it paid off. 122-79 winners. I moved to 3-2. Veronica drops to 2-3. All right, let's get to this week's action. Blood, Sweat, and Beer and the Rednecks. This is probably our game of the week. Both 2 4-1 teams. Or actually, before we do that, let's get to let's take a look at the lineups. Let's take a look at the not lineups, but the standings. All right. So back that pass up with 887.4 leads all teams. Now the next highest score is 786, and that would be blue and gold. So Rebecca is a full 100 points ahead in points scored this year so far. She sits atop the Cardinal division at 4-1, followed by blue and gold at 3-2, and Smell This at 3-2. In the gold division, Pubicville Crabs 4-1, Blood, Sweat, and Beer 4-1, and the Rednecks at 4-1. So a little bit of a log jam up at the top there in the gold division. All right, let's do our league pick'em. In our league pick'em this week, Dawn went 5-1, Ryan 3-3, I went 2-4. Tis. Rebecca 4-2, and Rick went 4-2. For the year, our high percentage person right now is 684 for Ms. Rebecca. She continues to lead league pick'em, but we still need more players in order to hit our minimum of 7. And you're running out of opportunities. We're almost after the halfway point. All right, let's go to our games for this week. We were talking about Blood, Sweat, and Beer and the Rednecks, 2 4-1 teams. They're both in that same division, in that the Cardinal division, and this will help separate out that division a little bit. But anyway, let's look at the lineups here. It's the Dawn is coming off as a bit of a favorite, 126.9 to 123.8. For Dawn, Tom Brady against New Orleans, AJ Green, Green for against Buffalo. That's a pretty good matchup. Demarius Thomas against Jackson. Oh my God! Denver against Jacksonville. I meant to mention this. I don't know if anybody saw that. 28-point favorites. That's the most lopsided odds in the history of the NFL. Denver's coming off as 28-point favorites over Jacksonville, and I don't even imagine it's going to be that close. For Dani, Phillip Rivers against Indianapolis. They're not the best defense, and Rivers is a little hot, but you watch out for him. He is very hot and cold. James Jones against Baltimore. Randall Cobb against Baltimore. Very heavy bet on the Green Bay Packers. Right now, as I said, it's a 126.9 to 123.8 in favor of Dawn. I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to give Dani the win. Dani will move on to 5-1. You heard it here first. All right, let's take a look at our next game, and that would be Smell This versus the Angry Itch. Right now, it's a 100.1 to 100.5 in favor of Tyson. I've got Andrew Luck against San Diego, T.Y. Hilton against San Diego. Good combo there. I got an empty spot on my tight end, so I'll make some moves down there. But really, I should get a lot of my running back talent back into the fold, so I'm anxious about that. For Tyson, Cam Newton against Minnesota, Reggie Wayne against San Diego, Frank Gore against Arizona, and Brandon Jacobs against Chicago, the good old Saluki. I'm going to give the pick to Smell This because I've got all my horses back in Doug Martin and Alfred Morris. And it's about time those boys started acting like horses because I'm a little tired of their production so far this year. All right, Girard Invincibles versus Blue and Gold. Grandpa's back in the saddle. He's got Matt Shaw, but he'll make that change and get RG3 back into that lineup. He will also drop Aurelius Ben. Remember, we talked about that, Grandpa. But right now, it's 96 to 93 in favor of Grandpa. For Jake, you got Matt Ryan on bye, so you're going to have to cover up for Matty Ice, Brandon Marshall against New York Giants, and Hakeem Nicks against Chicago, Jamal Charles against Oakland. Oakland is for real this year, you guys, so I'm going to pick Grandpa to win because I think he'll make the adjustments. Taking a look at Big Blue versus Pubicville Crabs. This is 2-3 versus 4-1 and it's a 116 to 73 projected victory for Alex. I do think Alex would get back on the good foot. He's got Flacco with Green Bay, Torrey Smith against Green Bay, Anquan against Arizona, C.J. Spiller against Cincinnati. C.J. Spiller's a little hurt, I think. Marshawn Lynch, he's listed as questionable. Marshawn Lynch against Tennessee. That's a great matchup. For Veronica, she's got Michael Vick against Tampa Bay. Ruben Randall against Chicago, Reggie Bush against Cleveland, Danny Woodhead against Indianapolis. I just don't think there's enough there. And they're only projecting Michael Vick for .33. Yeah, so he's listed, he's saying, here's a quote, "I'll be very surprised if I'm able to go out there and do what I was able to do." So you might want to take a look at making a replacement for Mike Vick there, Veronica. But at any rate, going to give the pick to Pubicville. Back that pass up versus Mud Dogs. This is Mud Dogs' chance to get back on the in the winning graces. He's currently favored by 0.3 of a point, 126.4 to 126.1. But Rebecca's just got a robot of a quarterback, and Peyton Manning. He's projected to do 48. Last week he did like 73. But he's going to take on Jacksonville. I bet he scores 100 by himself. I'm just going to stop my palavering, and I'm going to give the pick to Rebecca simply because Peyton is going to play Jacksonville. God, do you think he's going to finish that game? I think we should have a side bet if Peyton even finishes that game. All right, Decepticons versus Monte Ballage. All right, Ryan, you and your number 14 ranked University of Miami Hurricanes. This is your great chance to win. You're 122, 114 underdog right now, but Jed is not paying attention. Although the way the luck of the draw is, only his kicker is on bye this week. But for you, Ryan, Drew Brees against New England, tough matchup. Maurice Jones-Drew against Denver, Giovanni Bernard, who's probably got injured, against Buffalo. You may want to take a look at that. Vernon Davis against Arizona. It's against my better judgment to pick you on this one, Ryan, but I'm going to simply because I definitely think you can beat the autopilot. All right, that's all of our prognostication for this week. Remember, Atlanta and Miami are on bye. 2 more weeks. Not this weekend, but the weekend next. It's USC versus Notre Dame. All right, fight on, everyone. See you next week.